All right, Tusa, thank you for joining me for this interview. For your book, here you go. Change Yourself and Change the World. There you go. Perfect. I love this cover, by the way.
Thank you. That's my artwork.
Yeah, and forget about the cover. The material of the book is good, which we'll
Thank
get
you.
into. So, I mean, we met through the Kensington Book of the Day of the Book Festival. We did a spotlight for you. Unfortunately, I did not get to do the in-person little reel that we posted with you because I didn't make it to your table yet. So that's how we connected. But I want to learn more about yourself and the journey of being an author, your life experiences, everything else.
Yeah, let's get into it. Thank you, first of all, for having me for this interview and for taking the time to promote the bookstore, the book fair, all those things, and me and the other authors and what we do outside of being authors as well. So I really appreciate it. So I go by many titles, but the one that I think I settled into and I like because it encompasses everything I do is Life Alchemist. And it's because my work centers mostly working with people, whether if it's in past trauma release or mentorship or even energy healing, is more about releasing and helping them release the past, release their traumas, and come to this place of unconditional love, which I call it. There are many names for it. Some people call it higher consciousness. Some people call it God self. Some people just call it the self. Whatever you call it, it's just this space of awareness and oneness with everything. So that's what I guide
And that's the
them
business
through.
you have.
That's the business I do. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah. I do retreats and workshops and all sorts of things.
I mean, I love to learn more about that for sure.
Yeah.
So what guided you to write this book in particular?
The business, the work I was doing, I was seeing, first of all the tools I learned and I was using for my clients, it was because of life experience and what I did to heal myself and get to this place. But also working with my clients, I saw how they shifted and how them shifting, they would come back and say, it's changing the lives of their family members, whether it's husband, wife, kids, parents, grandparents, all those things. And I had seen that shift in myself, my surroundings as well. And I was like, well, how can I get like this work that I do and everything I know into a book and make it simple so that people can, use it themselves, that they can guide themselves, sort of they can start their healing journey. And that's what it was. So the other title was going to be Healing for Dummies. That's how simple I wanted to make it.
I know, but I think we've like overused like the for dummies. If you look it up, it's just like everyone uses it.
I know. But I mean, like the point was, I really just wanted to make it is simple because people think it's so hard, and it's not. It is simple. It just takes your willingness to shift.
Yeah. Well, speaking to your intro, it is very long and detailed. For me, when I was reading the book, the first thought I had after going through the intro and kind of going through the book, I was like, she gets it. And the reason why is because you're very vulnerable with what you share about your, I would say, the traumas you went through, the impact that it had on you. But for myself, I had my own traumas. I became a father very young, became I separated from my child's mother, and that was very traumatic at a young age as well. And you go through these different stages in life. So when I was going through the book, I felt that she gets it.
Nice.
Because she gets me. I think I said that in a point that I felt like I was being being seen. I was chatting with a friend, right? That also understood where I was coming from, and I understood where you were coming from. So I really related to the different chapters that you had.
That's a beautiful gift you're giving me. And that's like, I've heard this so many times from my clients. The minute they walk in and they sit down, a lot of times we haven't even started the work and they're crying. And they're like, I don't know why I'm crying. And it's like, I know why because they walk into a safe space, they feel seen, they feel heard. And that is what I wanted for this book. And something I say to all my clients and everyone is that if I can do it, you can do it. And that was the other reason for this book. If I can do it, you can do it. There's no, we often, when people get on these spiritual journeys or healing journeys, whatever you want to call it, they look toward their gurus and everything, and they're like, oh, the guru is guru, and I may never achieve that. It's like, no, if I can do it, you can do it. If they can do it, you can do it. There is no difference.
I think the common point is going to be those shared experiences or the shared traumas, right? Because in your book, you talk about getting divorced, being a single parent, dealing with your past, dealing with the, I would say the negative consequences or impacts you had on your life, and also getting past it, which is the main points of the book, right? And again, like I felt that you do have to go through those stages. And, it is very easy to be angry, right? Or to just cry and just be really sad. But to do the healing or to do the work is the difficult part. And I think, going back to starting with one of your chapters, self-acceptance and acknowledgement. And you have a quote here where it said, if you want to be loved, then you start with loving yourself. And if you want to be seen, heard, then you need to start to see yourself fully and hear yourself. And I feel that's very true. Like you do have to start to accept where you are and what you've been through, and you have to love yourself. I mean, for those who are, dating or looking for like the right person or looking for love, it does have to start with loving yourself, right? Because that other person can read that. The other person can feel that, okay, I don't think this person is comfortable with themselves or actually loves themselves. But when you do love yourself, that other person feels that. And they want to be a part of it. Like, this person loves themselves, takes care of themselves. And so this person can also love me, right? So that's one takeaway that I had from that beginning, I'd say.
Yeah. One of the beautiful Rumi poems is about clearing your mirror. Be a clear mirror. And this is what that is. When you find all those things you're looking toward the outside, when you find it in yourself, you're sort of clearing your reflection as well. That's the being seen. I don't mind anybody seeing me. When you talk about people say, you share everything so openly and clearly, like, I have to. Otherwise, I'd be hiding. If I'm worried about what you find out about me, I'll be hiding. And that's where, you come out. And in the relationships, every relationship, whether it's romantic or not, it's a mirror. So when you're cleared your mirror, then the person, when you find love with yourself, the person that shows up for you is not going to reflect how much you don't love yourself, but it's going to reflect that love back at you.
Right.
And that's the importance that I think people miss. They're constantly looking for outside. I want somebody so I'm not alone. I want someone to love me. I want someone to do these things for me. You got to find all those things in yourself. Because then you're whole and complete, and the person that comes for you, with you, is going to be whole and complete as well.
Yeah. And that speaks to a point of how so much is manufactured nowadays. Like, people, like what the energy people put out, what they're saying is so manufactured. It feels like everyone's just doing an interview, even if you're just chatting in a supermarket, right?
I appreciate that, by the way.
It's just, it's just like everything is like manufactured. You're so careful what you're saying. And for me, I crave honesty. Like, I crave a genuine feeling of whatever it is, like whatever position you have in life, just be honest with it. Just be genuine with it. And that's what I'm going to respect. And that's what I'm going to love. But I felt that when I was reading the book, I felt that you're being honest with me. And with what you're sharing as well.
Yeah, because the other point during my sessions and in here and everywhere I talk about is that you have to have that honesty with yourself. Because if you're hiding from yourself, again, that mirror is gonna keep coming until you're gonna see what you're hiding and not willing to see about yourself. So you got to be honest to find those parts within yourself, those fears, those vulnerabilities, those things you don't want other people to know. Just an example, I've had a client that, her thing was that she wanted to help people, and she was working at an environment that she was helping different kind of refugees and immigrants. But then she also had a character inside her, this part that was doing that for a reason, that wanted to be special, wanted to be seen in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then, there's nothing wrong with either of them. When you take the judgment out, you can easily see all these parts and not say, ooh, I don't want to look at that. That's really nasty that I'm doing this for that reason. No, see both of them. That's how you come out of it and see you don't need it. You got to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Awareness takes honesty.
I think people are just so unhonest nowadays. I swear, like, just the interaction I have with people, I feel that, because when I chat with people, I'm brutally honest with how I feel, and not in a negative way. I mean, like, I'm being genuine with what I'm saying and how I feel, and then they feel comfortable. Because when you're honest with someone, that's when people get really comfortable. That, you know what, I feel like I can share with you, and they become like, they want to be friends with you because no one else around them is being genuine or being honest. It might speak to a greater point in society and whatever the factors are in that, but they do crave that.
It's the fear again.
Yeah.
The fear stops you from being, showing fully, totally, and you feel like you got to hide some parts because I need the outside world to survive. And if I don't have that love and acceptance, I can't survive. But when you find that love and acceptance, acknowledgement within yourself, then it's easy to show up as you and be honest.
Does that tie into this, where you say in the chapter, I see in the shadows and darkness and find the parts that clients are hiding or are unaware of, in a way also rejecting? Is that where it ties in as well?
Yes. Because a lot of times when we've had traumas, and some traumas, we experience things and things are passed on and things are picked up in society, then a lot of times, even when I go, so I find like the different ages that they experience something when I'm, doing my energy work sort of. And a lot of times, even like as I'm seeing this little kid, it is in a dark room, it's in a dark space and not willing to come out, because it feels safe in that dark space. And that's when, we do the work and, get them to see those parts, get them to see those things that they don't want to look at, those experiences, whatever. It could be a trauma, it could be things about themselves that they don't want to see.
Yeah.
Because then it ties into self-forgiveness and forgiving others.
I think we're going to get there.
Yeah.
So reminding yourself that you always have a choice, right? It was one of the chapters. So you have a quote saying that taking responsibility for your life gives you power back and allows you to be aware of your personas. Then you say this helps to recognize you are not a victim of life, but the creator. I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that as well. I felt like to get over such traumatic, experiences in life, I think there's a sense of taking ownership. I think there's also a sense of that, well, I have free will and I made these choices, right? And it's because it's hard to, especially over a breakup, it's hard to think that, okay, well, why were they doing this? Why did it happen? Like, you have no control over that. You have no control of what they did. You have no control over how they felt and decided to do. But you do have control over what your own decisions, right? So everything that you did wrong. But then also, let's say it's a individual that had really negative qualities, right? But you had the choice to be with that person, and you chose that. But once you take accountability, it frees you.
It does. And again, the way I look at it is that everybody that comes in your life, it's for a purpose. Then it takes that sort of villainous or negative qualities, whatever you want to put on them, out of the picture. They are, when you take responsibility, it means just that you are all here for me to see myself clearly. Those parts that I'm not willing to see.
Yeah.
And, and I talk about that in the book, that I'm grateful for those villains in my story, because they were the ones that they were trying to show all those things that was hiding inside that I wasn't willing to look at. That was the only way it was going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was in a loving environment, it wouldn't come out. That was the only place I could really see it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. And that's what the choice is. The choice is that I'm taking responsibility, and it's not even a choice now. It's like I've made all these choices to get me here, to get me to where I'm going. And at some point you even sort of let go of choice, because then there is a trust that you come to this place that everything's already manifested. Everything comes together, and it's not really about choices. When you fall into that self, higher self, whatever you want to call it, when you are in that place of being, then you're not even worried about choices anymore.
Right. Yeah, I get that. I mean, for me, like you definitely take ownership of your life, and you feel more comfortable going through life. But also, like you said, those villains or those negative experiences, that's like where the growth is done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You see these, you interact with these really bad qualities with someone else, and you go, I don't want these qualities. I want to make sure that I don't have these qualities because of how this person has treated me. But then also, like I was chatting with a friend, and she's actually a divorced single mother, and she had a sibling that basically has that ideal life, like has the marriage and has the house and has everything. And she was telling me that, like, basically the feeling of like, what if I had that? I only wish I had that. And I told her that you wouldn't be like the amazing individual you are right now if it wasn't a result of those experiences.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, meet the people who don't go through ups and downs in life and all kinds of challenges, and then compare them to those who do. Right? Like let's say those famous poets we love to read, they had to go through that heartbreak, or like those amazing life challenges, to be able to shape that into words that we now connect with.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I remember because I'm a big fan of poetry, especially Eastern poetry, like Indian poetry. I'm like absolutely in love with Indian poetry, and because it's so deeply, especially couplets, because they pack in so much meaning and care and emotion into such little words.
True.
And that's what like gets me going. Like I don't need pages. Don't give me pages. Give me a sentence that just rips my heart out. Like that's all I want. True. But those I was talking to a friend how like he's like, why are you into poetry? And I was like, I'm into poetry because I resonate with what they're saying, but it's a result of what I've been through. That's why I connect with it.
Yeah. Everything, if you really look at life as a gift, and everything is happening in each moment, take again that judgment of good and bad out of it. Everything is a gift, and you look at it as a gift and receive it as a gift, and see it's like it's here to show me and for me to be doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing, because everyone, every single thing here in this life is for a purpose.
Yeah. Which brings me to forgiveness. The next step. I love the idea of forgiveness, to be honest with you. So in the quote I said at the beginning, it says, forgiveness is another main ingredient in this journey. So why is forgiveness so important? And why, without it, moving forward becomes challenging, right? So you said the main reason is that it's so much trauma and pain that the fear, and the anger is not carried forward anymore, right? So you start to let go by forgiving. For me, quite honestly, I had a little bit of a different mentality, because I remember being in a relationship where I was constantly forgiving the other person and asking for forgiveness for their own actions. I found myself forgiving them for their own mistakes, right? Let alone my own mistakes. So I had such a weird relationship with like I'm sorry because I was using it all the time, but then when you start to realize that, okay, I'm sorry for all the negatives and all the decisions I made that impacted others, but also these decisions that I made that impacted me,
Yeah.
right? So you start to be accepting of that and just releasing of that pain, right? And that helps you to get over, I think, such impactful events in your life.
True. And there's a difference between a lot of people walk around saying, I'm sorry.
Right.
And that I'm sorry is out of fear that they're
Right.
saying. It's different than forgiveness. Forgiveness is that I see you, I accept you, I accept your perspective where you are, and I forgive whatever ties that we've built because of this trauma, this relationship, whatever you want to call it. I forgive you, meaning I know like that you have a higher power and you came into this life for me to be a mirror for me to see these things, and that's what I'm forgiving you. I forgive you to break those ties. And then I forgive myself for not seeing myself, for not accepting myself, for not loving myself. So that's where, because a lot of times actually for people, it's easy to forgive the other. They say, I forgive others easily, and then they don't forgive themselves. They can't. They have a hard time forgiving themselves. So a little bit different than I'm sorry. I find that for a lot of people.
Yeah. For me, I think it was a very difficult journey to forgive myself.
Yeah.
Like because it's easy for me to beat on myself. It's not easy. I don't really beat on other people.
Yeah.
But like it's really because I respond to like negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
So but for me, it was really hard to forgive myself for my decisions because like my own expectations are so high, right?
Yeah.
But that was a difficult stage. This is all part of what I mean by you get it.
Yeah,
You got
it is challenging. It's forgiving yourself, and that's why I also talk about forgiveness goes in layers. So a lot of people's like, "Oh, I thought I forgave them." I'm like, it goes in layers because sometimes this program is so deep rooted that you might have done forgiveness for a particular part of it or for a particular layer of this, but not the whole thing. So be kind and gentle with yourself. Just because it's not about like, oh, I just want it to go away. No, when it comes, when you see it again, forgive.
Gotcha. So when it goes to the love and gratitude, right? So you had a quote where he said that all that is happening in our world right now is to awaken everyone, right? To realize that they are beyond this physical form and physical existence. So when it comes to love and gratitude, I felt that it's important to love others and be deeply grateful to others, and just putting out that positive kind of caring feeling to others, no matter what. I would say paying it forward, right? Constantly. But because once you're doing that without looking to receive, then you'll be happy.
I have a different view. My view is it's great to do that. Not saying that. So that's great. Love, gratitude outside. And yes, don't have any expectations. Totally agree with that. And you got to start that love and gratitude inside for yourself. Because, when my son was little, I always used to tell him, you got to love yourself before you love me. Because if you don't love yourself, you won't be able to love me. So when you truly love yourself, that love naturally flows out. You don't even need to do anything. You don't even need to say it. It naturally flows out. And then the gratitude is a lot of people do it out of fear. We've been taught as a kid, some of us, not all of us, that like that was big in my world, that be grateful, otherwise it's going to be taken away.
Right.
So the gratitude I found myself doing before was like, oh, please, please don't take it away. I'm thankful for this. Keep this. Or I'm thankful. Please don't bring anything bad. That was the way I was, not in words, but the energy of the
Yeah.
gratitude I
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
But now gratitude is for everything. Even like this cup of coffee, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for my phone. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's just the natural gratitude that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes out for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I mean by also by paying it forward with that gratitude,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You know how people complain about like people don't even open doors anymore or hold doors open, and I go forget it. Like let them not hold. It doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna hold the
Yeah.
door open,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to receive anything because this is the kind of energy I want to put into the world. But when you do that, it does come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like people do see that. People do see that. Hey, when you talk to someone, you're actually genuinely caring for them, even if you don't know them.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
or like you meet someone random and they tell you something that happened in their life, and you're like genuinely excited for them or happy for them. That does come back,
Exactly. No.
and I think that's how you get a happier society, right?
The happier society, that's a part of it, but it's also like all those things I talk about in the book, because to get there though,
Mm-hmm.
they got to go inside and find out why they have those expectations, why they're not willing to let go, why they're not willing to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
So those whys, when they answer those whys, again, those mirrors that are coming to show you, when you are then ready and letting go, it happens naturally. It happens, and it's not about happiness, it's about an internal joy, because happiness
Yeah.
comes and goes. Happiness, it's tied to sadness. It goes into that duality.
Mm-hmm.
But joy is not part of that duality. Joy is just joy. It doesn't have a opposite thing that works with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I truly enjoyed your book.
Thank
You
you.
know, I
Thank
was like,
you. Yeah, I'm grateful. It's been interesting journey with this book, because it totally has surpassed my expectations of it, or my hope or wishes for it.
mm-hmm.
As far as like the number of people that have either purchased a paperback, ebook, or audiobook,
Mm-hmm.
and the comments they come back. And again, for me, the interesting thing is that it's been gender neutral. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
it's for
everybody
everyone. Yeah.
is it's for everybody, and everybody's connecting with it. And you know, it- just like sitting back and like, wow.
Listen, I definitely recommend people picking up their own copies of this book, or even the audiobook. I love that you did the audio yourself as well.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I want. I want to hear the author. I don't want to hear like some voice actor.
Yeah, so I gotta share something about the
Yeah.
audiobook that's funny. So the company I used for the audiobook, so they're in England, and we would do online, so
Right.
somebody was actually online with me listening as I talk, to make sure, the volume, the sound, I didn't mispronounce anything, skip anything. And this poor guy, at some of these things, he was having such a hard time, because he's like, your voice and the way the topic and your voice and the way you sound puts me in like a meditation mode. So I'm like in and out. He was like going in and out like a trance. And he was like, I'm sorry, we gotta redo this. So it was funny. And then I was teasing, I was like, I should put this in the audiobook. If you have trouble falling asleep or meditation,
Yeah.
you can use it just for that as
Just for
well.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the audiobook. I think it
Thank
sounded very nice.
you. Thank you.
But I don't know. Like, I highly recommend this book. I think it's needed. I think more people should be doing the work, especially I would say post pandemic. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody went through some kind of traumatic experience. Like everyone I know was like doing breakups left and right, and
Yeah.
having marital issues, and on top of the financial and the physical and all that. But I think it's important that people come to be okay with their past and also where they are right now.
Yes.
And hopefully that helps positively impacts them in their relationships with the world. And I would say, like, you talk about change yourself, change the world. like you are the world. Like your environment with the world is your world.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be the other part of the literal globe, but it can just be the world that you're part of, right? Be that change for the world around you, being your friends or your family, and being that positive influence, right? Because you've done the healing, you know, you'll see it. You see the changes there.
Yeah, and it'll come. You'll see how it impacts a bigger circle and bigger circle, because, you know, like you said, you have your circle, and each person in your circle has their own circle as well. So they have their own worlds, right?
Yeah.
And you know, then I think I talk about that in the book as well. It's like that flower of life picture, that if you look at it, so each of us is just, you know, dot in a circle, dot in a circle.
Yeah.
And these circles are coming together, and that's how this expansion and ripple effect happens. And we can change the world. It's not a wow, you know, who am I to say I can change the world? Who are you to not say you can change the world?
Why not? Yeah, why not? Like, you may not be able to change some other country or some other place, but you can change your own world, right? And that can have ripple effects, as you said.
Yeah. But that ripple effect is going to get
can reach there. Absolutely. But that's, I mean, I totally believe in that. It's one of the reasons why, you know, I have MoCo Community, or started MoCo Community, because the whole idea was just be positive and just put out more support and support others and see how that impacts community. And what I want to do was promote more community amongst businesses or professionals, or you know, or like artists in general, and just promoting that. And I had that realization a few years back of it's not about being angry, or not about being like frustrated with the world, or why me with the world. Instead of just be positive. Just be positive and put out that energy, and fix yourself, and just care for others.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but and the thing is that it's not even a doing. When you go inside and start clearing the inside, you naturally are doing it. You naturally get into these places, and, you know, you're going to be helping others by just being you.
Yeah.
Because your energy helps them to, like you said earlier, they're going to feel safer with you. They're going to feel happier. They're going to feel at ease. So it gets them to go inside and do the work as well.
Oh, yeah, especially when they ask you, like, how are you the way you are, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a taxing job, right? It doesn't feel like you're not being yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are being yourself. And because that, it just flows free, like you said. It flows within every interaction that you have with people you know or don't know. I agree. I agree 100%. What are you working on now?
I am working on, so with this book, when I finished this book, I decided I wanted to get into publishing as well. More, not traditional, like it is self-publishing, but also more the spiritual healing aspects of publishing. And so I did a multi-author book, which I had a chapter, and I did it differently than other people were doing multi-author books that I knew. And it was a very great experience, healing for all the people that said yes and were part of that. Even that book has won some awards. But so as I was doing the chapter in there, which was like, I think 60 pages, my chapter, I was like, okay, this is turning out to be a mini book. I need to like pause this and then turn it into a book.
But it's hard to not flow when you're writing. I have the same thing when I'm writing.
So I paused it. I did pause it. I said, okay, this is good for this part of being part of this book, but I do need to get it and do it. So long story short, that's what I'm working on right now, getting that and making it into a second solo book.
The section,
Yeah, and just doing me, everything that comes that's fun. I'm doing a lot more speaking, which I love, getting out there in front of people, bringing this message. And so at, you know, either local events, business events, retreats, I'm doing more speaking as well.
Okay, so where and how can people support you and find you?
My website, you know, which is my first name, last name.com, AtousaRaissyan.com. All my social media's information is there. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, my podcast, whatever, reach out. A lot of times people just reach out, give me a comment. Hey, I like this. Or,
Yeah.
Sometimes they even ask questions. So yeah, connect with me any way you can.
And I'm going to plug in the links, everything into the description as
Thank
well,
you.
into the
Yeah,
post.
yeah.
But I love this. I'm looking forward to the next book.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
I
me
want to
too.
read that, and we should sit down for a talk about that as well.
Yes, hopefully. Yes, yes.
But it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work you're doing, again, for us, for the authors, for the bookstore, everything. Thank you.
The thing is, like, these authors, like yourself, are just they're amazing in their own right. Like, it's a privilege for myself to be able to spotlight others, right? You're like, you're not doing me a favor. Like, I'm trying to help support you, just because you're the ones who are the artists, the authors, the amazing individuals that have I would say, the confidence to do this. Like, I have yet to put out my book. My book has taken forever. So for you guys that have already published, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's good.